how much data, how big was your infrastructure at this point? I think you guys, I mean, back then I remember it was just mind-boggling, big, ginormous. Today we all like, yeah, you know, it's not that big anymore. But back then it was quite impressive.
So, you know, Quantcast went through a series of clusters, you know, in the early years, probably every 15 months, we upgraded to a new physical cluster, you know, and the clusters grew not only in the number of machines, but the networking and the scale of the equipment. So, you know, the biggest cluster that we actually kept for a longer period of time and kept extending started out with several petabytes of capability.
And that's 2007.
So we put that one in place. It went live, if I remember right, in 2008.
Okay.
Right? So earlier than that, we'd had you know, a smaller cluster. But yeah, you know, we had, overall, we grew it to, we thought about it in terms of the number of cores, and we did our own scheduling where we had lanes, which were, you know, collections of separate sets of nodes that would be scheduled independently. We found that trying to have jobs coexist on the same machines didn't work very well for us. So we split it out into kind of a set of virtual clusters on the same hardware. But there we had, you know, a few thousand machines, you know, each reasonably dense storage. You know, back then you didn't have 2 terabyte drives, weren't even common. It was like terabyte drives. But yeah, so we ended up having then several petabytes of storage and pretty significant capacity. You know, we had the ability to sort routinely 100 terabytes of data.
What was the biggest challenges, especially in the early days? I think at some point you guys got drifted quite off of the nudge master or trunk, as we call it in this SVN.
Yeah.
So what was the main things you guys fixed in your version?
So, you know, early on, what we did a number of releases where we resynced up with what became Hadoop and, you know, would forklift our changes in. I mean, we put some hooks in to give us better visibility into what was going on in the jobs. We built a higher level programming API for making it easier to program MapReduce jobs. Still in Java, but more of a data binding approach. And we invested in, of course, you know, second file system and integration of that, as we talked about. And then the other piece that we put a lot of effort into was tuning efficiency, especially sort efficiency. We had big jobs that routinely sorted large amounts of data. And, you know, even today, the sorter in Hadoop is not optimized in the way it could be. So we made a number of changes. I don't think I'm allowed to talk about exactly what we did, but we made, you know, a number of modifications, improvements to drive better sort performance.
Now, there's this fun little story where this really small startup came to you guys. I think it's called Facebook back then. Yeah,
that's right.
And I think Peter Thiel introduced the Facebook data team, Hammerbacher and Co. to you. And they came by. They did like a visit.
That's right.
And like, what is this thing here? This is incredible slow. It's in Java. We all in C++. What happened there?
Yeah, so they had tried out Hadoop and had found that, you know, running it out of the box, they were getting, you know, worse performance on a cluster of machines than they could get doing the same thing with a single program, you know, word count and so forth. And so instead we showed them what we had done to make Hadoop work well and get meaningful scalability and great results. And it was pretty important in them deciding to embrace Hadoop because, you know, they're considering MPP database alternative at the time, and convinced them that embracing Hadoop and contributing to that would be a better choice.
And I think now they're kind of by far the biggest Hadoop user out there.
Yeah, they have the biggest Hadoop cluster. You know, we've been doing some work with them on that cluster.
Yeah. So it came all the way back.
That's right. Been able to help them out.
Yeah. So you showed them Hadoop, and you still have to help them with Hadoop.
That's right. You know, that the thing that's so exciting is that as organizations take advantage of Hadoop and big data, that there's so much value to be created that there's immense opportunity, right? That companies see so many ways they can use analytics and drive more results that even a company like Facebook that has a very deep set of capabilities still looks for outside help because they have so much they want to do and there's such a need for expert help like we can provide.